What is up, guys? Check this out really quick.
The D-line is a disaster. And now the depth at linebacker has become disastrous. Again, I cannot wrap my head around how anybody can look at this particular lineup and say, yeah, these are the guys we're running with on Saturday, and we're only going to dress out a handful of them. Because what? Well, now you have to upgrade Mailake Smith, right? He's got to dress. He's got to go, unless we're going to upgrade Garrett Wilson, which is a possibility because he's not your run-of-the-mill walk-on.
On this episode of Locked On West Virginia, it gets worse for the Oklahoma State locker room as they deal with even more injuries. Trying to field a team on Saturday. What is Mike Gundy going to do? That's the question. I've got answers. This is Locked On West Virginia.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up? Welcome in, guys. My name is Mountaineer Paul. Thank you for joining me this evening to talk ball. This is Locked On West Virginia. Thank you for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen every day, and for making me part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we do talk about your team every single day. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Today's episode, place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's guaranteed. All you got to do is visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, so a little bit of an update / breaking news here. If you don't know, Nick Martin, Colin Oliver, two of the best defensive players in the Big 12 Conference. That's not up for debate. That's legit. They're going to be out Saturday versus West Virginia. We knew about Colin Oliver. Nick Martin limped off the field against Kansas State, the best remaining defensive player for the Cowboys. He's gone. He's done, and it's probably going to be for a long time, according to Locked On Oklahoma State's Cody Stovall. So let me just read the list of players he sent me here. All right. Linebacker Nick Martin, out. Linebacker Colin Oliver, out. Linebacker Justin Wright, out. Linebacker Kendall Daniels is very hurt but will play. And Zane Flores is out. Two safeties are also banged up. Might have to rotate with some backups in the game. One of the starting linebackers for Saturday is 6 feet, 205 pounds. That's all four starting linebackers, so the top four linebackers out for the game. If there's a game where Jahiem White and C.J. Donaldson can get right, this is your game. If you can't get right against this lineup, there's an issue. Oklahoma State has big problems. Big problems. If we were in the 1920s, somebody might even say, man, we got big problems, big problems. So they have been pumped full of life. That's probably pretty lame, but I gave it my best shot. Man, can you believe this for Oklahoma State? I fully expected Nick Martin to pull through and get on the field for Saturday. That just means that Neil Brown has even less of an excuse to win this football game, right? Less of an excuse not to win it. I think, the more I start to look at this, the better I start to feel. Now, doesn't mean they still may not be able to score on us, but certainly we should be able to control the clock and the game in this one with that many linebackers out. Ethan Gray over on X says, GG's running wild, brother. No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. And as the people show up, we'll probably end up having to go back over this a little bit. But, man, what a freaking mess for Oklahoma State. I got to be honest, though. I'm glad we don't have to see Nick Martin or Colin Oliver. I don't know about you, but I'm glad we don't have to see those guys. Those guys are really, really really good, comparable to anything we've seen Penn State, name it. They're just, they had the best duo or trio of linebackers coming into this season, maybe in the country. Seriously, they're that. Both of these guys are NFL players, probably day 2 picks. You could make an argument for maybe Oliver being even higher. Nick Martin, both of them are so good. So what are they missing? Well, let's look at the stats. See if I can find them on the fly here. Let's see. Let's look at 2023 for Nick Martin, Oklahoma State stats. Just to kind of get, so he had 140 tackles, 83 solo tackles in 2023. Were the most by any Big 12 player since 2018. That's number 4. He just got hurt against Kansas State this past week. So that's 140 tackles. I think that's a lot. And then Colin Oliver, who may be the better of the two. Let's see what his stats were last year. Let's see. 15.5 tackles to loss go along with 11.5 sacks. So, he was their edge guy, right? So, he's more the pass rush specialist of the two, obviously. And then Justin Wright. Let's see what he's told me that. He's like their man in the middle, I think. I don't want to make the wrong call on this. But I thought he was their middle guy. Let's check it out really quick. So he's Abilene, Texas, number 44. So at Oklahoma State, 254 tackles, 27.5 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, 4 fumble recoveries, 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 4 pass breakups. These are great players, guys. Seriously. Like, can you imagine the hole they have in the middle of that defense now? We better be able to. The middle of the field should be a chasm on Saturday. We're worth our salt at all, worth anything on offense. If you're just joining the show, Cody Stovall, Locked On Oklahoma State, posted a video about an hour ago. By the way, please go check him out over on YouTube. Had him on the show. He's an excellent. I mean, he's really good. He really is. And a few of you guys know that. He was here on the show a couple days back. Not only is he highly entertaining, he's got great opinions. He's plugged in over there. I really am a big fan of Cody Stovall. So if you go check him out, guys, on X, if you keep up with the conference like I do, I highly suggest it. He's really cool. And he makes funny Biden jokes sometimes. He makes funny jokes about, it's not a picking a side or anything. It's just, he's really funny. So anyway, he updated the situation. It's a disaster for Oklahoma State. It's a complete, total disaster. You're talking about guys that have never played or played very rarely and probably not on defense anyway. If they played, it's probably been special teams, kickoff and the like. But the 2 big holes in the defense today, Nick Martin, Colin Oliver, would be the equivalent of us losing. I don't even know if we have an equivalent, but I guess if we had to choose one, it would have been like last year losing Zach Frazier and Wyatt Milo on the offensive line. It would be that kind of blow to our offensive line equally to their linebacker room. Now, do I think those guys are as high level as Zach and Wyatt? Maybe not quite, but they're definitely in that stratosphere. I mean, they're both going to be first or second round picks probably. So, like, we're talking big losses here. And I don't want to beat it to death, but just want to say, like, this is a pretty big deal. We've got 80 people on X. It looks like around people still coming in on YouTube, over 30. Join the conversation, guys. This is not a premiere. I am live. So if you want to join the conversation, type it in the chat box. Ethan Gray is on X. He's chatting. So if there's anybody in that chat, if you can see Ethan, what he typed in, join the conversation. I will read your comments and thank you for being a part of the show. So we're going to still talk about that. But up next on Locked On West Virginia, guys, without those linebackers, what's GG going to look like tomorrow, right? What is the offense going to look like as a whole? What's up, Brandon? No worries, brother. And can we get the running game on track tomorrow? We're going to look at that next on Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. Let's check out the live. Let's see what the line is on this game right now, huh? Oklahoma State versus West Virginia. All right, let's see. As of 3 hours ago, it is 64.5 on the over/under. All right, so it's back down to -3.5 for Oklahoma State, -150 on the money line. So make sure you go to FanDuel.com, guys, and keep up with the spread as we go along until Saturday before you make your bet. West Virginia running game has no reason not to get going. Nick Martin. Let me put up my list again, just so we can because I can't remember them all. Linebacker Nick Martin, linebacker Colin Oliver. So Nick Martin, that's 140 tackles. Colin Oliver, that's 11.5 sacks. Justin Wright, that is. Let me read it again. I got to go find it. Hold on, let me go back to it. That is 254 tackles, 27.5 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, 4 fumble recoveries, 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and 4 pass breakups in the middle of the defense. So they're missing that. And also linebacker Kendall Daniels who's number 8. He's like a nickel type linebacker, from what I remember, is very injured and will most likely be out, along with Zane Flores. 2 safeties are really banged up and might have to rotate with some backups most of the game. One of the new linebackers for Saturday is 6 foot, 205 pounds. JG might be running mild, brother. Let me get a swig of Dusky. Oh yeah. I can't put it down. I've got a problem. Papa. All right. What's up, Eric Flowers? What's up, Brandon Cook? What's up, Ethan Gray? Thank you for joining, guys. Daniel Sargent is here, my stat guru. Stephen Keel is here. What's up, brother? Let's read some of these comments here. Talk about the running game, West Virginia running game. Okay, so Daniel Sargent said TCU getting their guts kicked out right now. Hey, look, we know Houston's coach, man. He's legit, in my opinion. I just feel. Sorry. Stephen Keel, Oklahoma State defense is horrible with or without the linebackers. And when you say better than Penn State's linebackers, that's not factual. No, it is factual, brother. What are you talking about? These guys haven't played all year. Like Colin Albers has been out the whole year. Nick Martin had 140 tackles last year, All-American. He was going to be an All-American this year. Like it's not a huge stretch. And I just read off Justin Wright's stats. Over 200 tackles. I don't care to read it again, though, just to debate. 54 career tackles, 27.5 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, 4 fumble recoveries, 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and 4 pass breakups. I'm just saying. No, they haven't played, Stephen. That's the point. They've been out, brother. Like Nick Martin has played by himself. The other ones are out. So they've been playing empty-handed a lot of the year. Anyway, I'm not going to get caught on that. It's a dumb thing to debate anyways. Like, who cares if they're better than Pitt State or not? I was just trying to get some levity in here. Like, these are huge losses for them. I think the running game, though, as far as I'm concerned, is CJ should have a field day. Jahiem, if they give him the ball, I don't, I was looking at something earlier. I know I'm bouncing around a little bit, but look at this really quick. Let me see if I can find it. 2024 stats for Jahiem White so far. He has 31 carries on the year, right? That's touching the ball 8 times a game, basically, right? That ain't enough. I mean, you can say he's in a slump, certainly. The first run he had against Penn State was like 10 yards. Outside of that, it's been rough for him. But in my opinion, you got to give him more than 8 touches a game for him to get going. He's a sophomore. So Jahiem White is one of those cases where we just need him to get going. We've seen what he did when he does last year in 7 games or whatever it was. He was an All-American freshman, All-American candidate, not candidate. He did make it and averaged over 7 a carry. CJ Donaldson, let's see what his are going to be way higher. I haven't looked yet, but let's see. So he's got 26 carries, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Oh, no, that's wrong. I'm sorry. That's 51 carries, 284 touchdowns, 284 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I was going to say 26 don't sound right. Okay. I probably need to click on this to make sure it's updated. I'm reading it straight off the screen, and without clicking on it. So 6.3 a carry, not bad for CJ so far this year, right? Yeah, so he's got 51 carries, 284 yards, averaging 5.6. Not bad at all, if you ask me. Let me make sure Jahiem's were up to date. Click on it now that I'm here. Yeah, so it's 37 carries, 194 yards, 3 touchdowns. So you're right about 32. At 8.5 to 9 carries per game for Jahiem, still not enough. I mean, if I'm Jahiem, well, let me look at his pass touches too, so we can get it accurate. It shouldn't be a lot, but gotta be. I mean, a touch is a touch. So let's go to receivers. Let's see. Update. Here it goes. Running backs again. Interesting. Well, it really doesn't matter, I guess, that much. I'm sure he's got less than 10. I mean, you would imagine. Let's see. It'll be rushing totals. I know he's got some catches. We need him to get going, though. That's the point. And we need to give him more touches, right? I mean, if you told me, what'd I do here? Okay. If you had told me before the year that Jahiem White was going to be where he's at right now, I'd have probably laughed because I picked him to be the offensive player of the year in the Big 12. Probably some gold blue shade glasses on for that. But I really felt good about him coming into this year if he stayed at the pace. And he hasn't. But I still have faith in his ability. It's just CJ did it. I mean, you look at CJ's numbers from year to year. His freshman year, he had 87 carries, 526 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Really, really good, right? Then his sophomore year, he had almost 200 carries. They were giving him the ball a lot. And he averaged 4.7 yards a carry, 11 touchdowns. 798 yards though. On 171 carries, not really that. It's not very great. I mean, to me, that was based on the expectations from the 87. You had 526 yards on 87 carries the year before. I mean, every run was a big run, right? And so I just thought for sure he was going to do better the next year. Obviously, he had a little bit of a slump. It wasn't huge, but it was there. It happens. I don't know if it's I think what happens partially is teams get tape on you. They figure out what you do well, and then they coach their players not to let you do that. And then you've got to kind of, excuse me, you have to adjust. Yeah, I saw that. Drum Wolf. Houston's up 24-6 on TCU right now. You know what's crazy is I'm a big Willie Fritz fan, and if I'd have had my druthers, we might have ended up with him at some point in time, but we did. So, Stephen Edens, what's up, brother man? He said, great show. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that very much. So, to kind of recap, Houston's out 4 linebackers. Houston. Oklahoma State is out 4 linebackers, 2 of which are most would consider they were the best duo in the Big 12. Most people consider. And then Justin Wright brings just a ton of production to the room. He's also out. So not looking great for them in the linebacking room. And they're going to be playing a 6-foot, 205-pound, basically a nickel safety type deal at linebacker. So that may help in the pass coverage, though, in the middle of the field. Maybe the middle of the field won't be as easy for us to exploit with a small player there, possibly. So that's just my thoughts on it. So up next on Locked On up next on Locked On West Virginia, what we're going to do is whatever you guys want to talk about. If you don't want to talk about anything, then we'll end it. Wait for the game tomorrow. Stick around for that. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by Game Time. I love Game Time. I tell you guys that every single week. If I'm going to buy tickets, I'm going to go through Game Time because they give me pretty much everything I want when it comes to selecting a game. I bought my tickets for the Penn State game through Game Time, even though I didn't use them. They have a feature called Game Time Picks. It makes tickets for your favorite live events even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats. That way you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It's really, really, really slow when it has to happen like that. It's a super deal. It really is. Curated deals make it easier to find the best price on great seats. You can view seats before you buy, which is great, a 360 panoramic view. And they have a low price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, etc. If you can't figure it out, they're gonna give you the money back. Low price guarantee, 110% back to you if you can prove that. So that's a pretty cool thing. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Call to action, guys. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDON College for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, guys, back here on Locked On West Virginia, and Stephen Eden says this is very important information. I agree WVU should dominate. We should. Now, it's on the road. It's in Stillwater, and don't look at our record. But it's not been great. So just want to point that out. That's not been the great thing for us. Nobody better I can't say it, but every time I grab this, I think somebody's gonna what is that? Photoshop something. Coal Rush black shirts for the Iowa State night game will not be available for the game for fans. Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up, Drumwolf. This is a time for me to make an announcement. So I want to make sure I get his full title right. I'm bringing somebody on. I don't know if he's going to want to talk about that for sure or not, but let me just make sure I'm saying it right. Okay, so Deputy Athletics Director for Internal Affairs at West Virginia, Matt Wells, who looks to be like he's a really nice guy, will be on Locked On West Virginia sometime next week. He and I had a nice friendly text exchange early. I'll tell you in just a second, Smack. Good to see you, by the way. Smack the Devil. Really love having you in here. Anyway, so we're going to have Matt Wells on, and I told him, in the text exchange, hey, look, if you want to address this, because there's a lot of people that are upset about the jerseys, about not being available in time for the Coal Rush game. Maybe that's something we can talk about next week. So he's going to come on either way. We're going to talk to him, and it should be fun. So stick around, wait for that, guys. That'll be a cool interview. Come up with some questions you have for him if you want. Be respectful, but try to come up with something. Smack the Devil. I knew I would have to update somebody in the third segment, so I was prepared to do it anyway. WVU injuries is 100%. We're ready to go. TJ Crandall is the only one that we are skeptical about as far as from an injury standpoint. TJ Crandall, the West Virginia quarter, had a head injury, from what I understand, which if you saw the play, that was pretty obvious. It was probably a concussion. And after he played pretty well, he played decent early on. So against Kansas, he's probably out. Insert Reed Carrico back in. He's going to play tomorrow. So that's going to be an important get for us. Outside of that, other than the guys that were lost for the season, like Corey McIntyre and others, we're 100% healthy. So we're the antithesis of Oklahoma State coming into this thing. Oklahoma State is out a lot. And I'm going to say it one more time. According to Cody Stovall, Locked On Oklahoma State, Nick Martin, Colin Oliver, Justin Wright, Kendall Daniels, Zane Flores, all out. So, or Kendall Daniels is hurt, but will play hurt. So, Daniels is the nickel, I believe, but the nickel linebacker, but I'm not really sure 100%. He's a small guy or that. So they're going to have to start. He said all four top linebackers are pretty much out. And then he said one of the starting linebackers is 6 foot, 205 pounds. And I went over the stats as well. I'll go over them one more time since we have so many more people in here. Colin Oliver is 11.5 sacks missing and about 30 tackles. He's an outside linebacker. Think of what Tyron Bradley does for us, and that's what he is, but better. He's 11.5 sacks. That's elite. You're looking at NFL people. He's probably an NFL talent off the edge. Nick Martin, 140 tackles, sideline to sideline, NFL linebacker out. Justin Wright, the stats on that dude blew me away. Now, they're not all at Oklahoma State, but his career stats are 254 tackles, 27.5 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, 4 fumble recoveries, 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 4 pass breakups. He's a redshirt senior. So, and he looks like a dude. If you see my thumbnail or anything like that, like he came in from Tulane, I believe it was. So like it's not like they're play bad there, or Tulsa maybe. Well, it says in 2022 he led the Golden Hurricane in tackles for 101, tackles for loss 10.5. Ranked first on the team with a pair of interceptions. I guess I need a drink here. My voice is trying to go out. So anyway, to say that he's a loss for Oklahoma State is probably an understatement. Those are some big-time numbers, though. Let's see what he's done for them so far. I'm looking for it. That's all right. Anyway, big time loss for him, guys. So currently watching UNLV and Syracuse. Need Syracuse to win, says Daniel Sargent. Stephen Eden says, what about West Virginia's defensive back that went to the hospital? I just answered that. Are you behind me a little bit, Stephen? TJ Crandall is the only doubtful player for Saturday. I haven't gotten an update this week, though. Nick Martin is the biggest blow. Drumwolf 62. I am wondering if the receiver transfer from Oklahoma State gave us some inside info that might help WVU. I think, there's no doubt that he gave him some. But at the end of the day, Oklahoma State's got a brand new offensive coordinator this year. So, I think, was Bell there last year? Let me see. I could be wrong on that. Okay, now, let's see. Or Oklahoma State. Oops. Casey Dunn. Why did I think Kate Bell? Okay, so he has been there. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. So he has been there. In 2023, Dunn's offense produced the nation's leading rusher and Doug Walker Award, Ollie Gordon, who, by the way, is going to play tomorrow, and we should keep that in mind. We have to be able to keep him in check. We can't be the game that he gets right, guys, because he's unstoppable if he gets going. There's literally no defense in America that can do anything to him in the open field. Once he gets 3 or 4 steps, he becomes Adrian Peterson. Like, he's got that kind of ability. And I don't know if he'll ever be as good as Adrian Peterson. But from my eye test, when I see him get in the open field, he reminds me a lot of Adrian Peterson, a big back that was 6 foot. He was over 6 feet tall. Obviously, Ollie's a bit bigger. But he reminds me a lot of All Day. So, he's one of those guys that if you can hit him before he gets to the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage, you limit so much of what he's good at. If he gets 1 step through the hole, you're going for a ride 5-6 yards, and you live to see another day. If he gets 2 steps through the hole, you're looking at him getting up on your secondary, and if he gets 3 to 4 steps through the hole, bye. He's gone, and nobody's going to catch him. He's a sub 4.4 guy, and he's also running at about the size of a shooting guard, on an NBA team. So, it's not getting done. Yeah, I know. Get off my nuts, Daniel. I was just reading something about Bell earlier. How about his gimmicks and stuff? And you want to know how to fix YouTube notifications when you have them on, but you don't receive them. I'll turn them on and off and back on. Still don't receive them until after the stream is over. Yeah. If you're using the app, delete it. Excuse me. Delete the app and re-download it. Gosh. Sorry, guys. If you're using your browser, go on the app. But the best way to do it is to delete the app and re-download it. Might be a battle of the running backs who can outgain old school football. Well, we're hoping so, Drum Wolf. That's what we're hoping for. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm at 34 minutes. That's pretty much the limit. So I'll do a post game. I will tomorrow. I'm on every day just about. So we'll talk about this tomorrow. And come rain or shine, win, lose, or draw, we're going to either get on here and be really happy, or we're going to get on here and complain, or we're going to get on here and be really happy, but we'll still probably complain a little bit, or everything went right and we couldn't be happier. That's like if the back end gets 2 or 3 picks, or just don't give up a lot. The running backs look great and Garrett goes off. That's what we're hoping for tomorrow, guys. So let's bleed gold and blue. Let's support everybody and send good thoughts to Stillwater, Oklahoma for the Mountaineers as they try to do something they can't do very well. Let's beat them boys in Stillwater. Thank you guys for joining me in. and we'll talk tomorrow. Good night, guys.